leadership, Kentucky Republican Senator and physician Rand Paul. Senator Paul, it's a pleasure. Welcome back to Freedom Watch.
Good to be with you, Judge.
What did you think of the president's comments today, particularly those deriding millionaires and billionaires whom he claims, yet again, are not paying their fair share of the government's burden?
I think the politics of class envy aren't what most Americans are interested in. Most Americans realize that we live in the most mobile society ever known to man. Really, a significant amount of people who are in the bottom part of the socioeconomic ladder through their lifetime actually make it into the upper echelons. It is really one of the great aspects of America. So for him to vilify people who make a lot of money, even those of us who don't make a lot of money know that we work for people who make more money than we do, that punishing them actually may put a damper on and may threaten or jeopardize our job.
Isn't it just basic economics 101, which I know you understand and the president doesn't seem to, that unless people put their money in a shoebox, no matter how rich they are, whatever they do with that money is going to generate economic activity and produce jobs and make everybody's prosperity go up. Whereas if that money goes to government bureaucrats, what'll happen to it is the same as what happened to the $2 trillion the government has given away in the past 3 years.
The other thing about the class warfare or the politics of envy is that it mistakes and thinks that big corporation are some other people. Corporations are often us. You know, if you have any retirement money that you put into a 401k or an IRA, you buy corporations and you're part owner. So if we punish those corporations, we punish all of the individuals who have invested in those corporations and the people who work for them. It's a nonsensical idea. It's a non-starter. And the vast majority of economists around the country say, bad idea to raise taxes on anyone when you're in a recession.
Senator, you have authored legislation which would reduce by serious numbers the bloated federal budget. I think it's $500 billion a year for the next 4 years. It would actually bring us to a balanced budget before your term in the Senate is over, if it were to be enacted. What is the status of that legislation? Where's the Republican leadership on it?
Well, we have a budget that our office produced that would balance the budget in 5 years, and we have a couple of Republicans who have signed on. I believe Senator DeMint and Senator Mike Lee signed on to support our budget. When we voted on it in the Senate floor, we got 7 votes. The reason we chose to try to balance it in 5 years is that's what the balanced budget amendment would require. So those who support a balanced budget amendment need to realize that ultimately they would have to endorse a budget like I've proposed that would actually balance the budget in 5 years. And it means that you have to believe that many things we do in Washington shouldn't be done here. They should be sent back to the states and to the people respectively. Until we understand that, though, I don't know how we will balance our budget. There's still a disconnect between those who say, yeah, let's balance the budget, but they can't cut $200 or $300 million from Amtrak, you know?
Right. I think one of the most critical votes that members of Congress will cast in their careers will be coming up in the next month, and that's whether or not to raise the debt ceiling. Has the Secretary of the Treasury, has the Chairman of the Federal Reserve, has the International Monetary Fund scared you into believing that we have to let the federal government borrow more money, or are you going to stick to your sound money roots and say, you guys aren't going to bother and borrow another nickel on my watch?
Well, the thing is they're not spending the money that we've given them wisely. They're wasteful. They can't account for much of the money. The Pentagon can't balance its books at all. They say they're too big to be audited. So, no, I don't think they deserve any more money. The other thing about the debt ceiling is it's a false choice. They think it's an either-or situation, that either you raise it or there's going to be Armageddon. Really, we bring in $200 billion a month in revenue. The interest payment's about $20 billion. There's no excuse for ever defaulting on our interest. We can continue to pay our interest out of tax revenue. They won't tell you that, because what it would mean is we would have to balance our budget. We would have to cut spending elsewhere.
Is the Senate going to stay in session during the 4th of July, what was to be the 4th of July recess, in order to address these issues, or is everybody going home again?
Well, here's the interesting thing, I think it's America celebrating the birthday of our country. We're celebrating our founding, and I think America deserves better than what they're getting in Washington. So I've stood up today with Senator Ron Johnson from Wisconsin, and he said he's had enough. He's going to object to everything, including recess. So I've promised that I will stay here to support him, and we're putting the Democrats on notice that, we haven't had one hearing on the debt ceiling. We haven't had 1 minute of debate on the debt ceiling. We don't pass a budget, any kind of budget. The Democrats haven't passed a budget in 2 years, nor any appropriation bills. It's irresponsible, and we've said no more. You're not going home unless you're willing to talk about the debt ceiling.
Senator Paul, you have your work cut out for you. As always, it's a pleasure. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Judge.
With the mounting bureaucracy